how Welcome to Derry is secretly setting up Mrs. Kersh, Theory explained. Welcome to Derry has spent its first few episodes building slow burn dread, tying its 1960s prequel story to the broader mythology of Stephen King's It. Episode 4, in particular, deepen the friendship between Lily and the gentle, soft-spoken, orderly Ingrid. Yet this touching relationship may actually be one of the show's darkest tricks. The episode plants subtle clues that Ingrid may not be what she seems, and that her true identity could secretly link to one of the most disturbing characters in it. Chapter 2. The elderly Mrs. Kersh. Mrs. Kersh is iconic in the franchise for one reason. She appears harmless, even sweet, until it's revealed that she's simply another manifestation Pennywise uses to lure an adult Beverly Marsh into danger. The possibility that Welcome to Derry is planting the seeds for her origin story is chilling, but the signs are stacking up, enough to raise the alarm that Ingrid may be the earliest version of that unsettling figure. This theory isn't just a stretch of fan imagination. The show itself appears to be quietly pointing in this direction, and episode May 4th have provided the strongest evidence yet. Welcome to Derry's opening already proved Pennywise's range. The season's opening scene showed Pennywise manifesting as an entire car full of uncanny, unsettling family members, an escalation in the creature's illusion-crafting abilities. Fans often think of Pennywise as the dancing clown, but the novel, miniseries, and films have all demonstrated just how limitless its shapeshifting really is. So it's important to remember, if Pennywise wants to play a long psychological game, it can. And it has. The 1990 miniseries and It, Chapter 2 both proved this through Mrs. Kersh, the elderly woman who invites Beverly into what seems like a normal home before slowly transforming into something monstrous. She wasn't just a disguise Pennywise maintained for a few seconds. She was a persona, a whole character, a living, breathing individual built from fragments of history and lies. This makes Ingrid's role in Welcome to Derry even more suspicious.
My father used to say that life is about the journey.
Ingrid appears at Lily's lowest moment, conveniently alone. When Lily is sent to the asylum after witnessing her father's gruesome accident, Ingrid emerges as the only adult willing to listen to her talk about Pennywise. Their connection is immediate, almost perfectly timed, and deceptively comforting. For Lily, a frightened girl trapped in an institution, Ingrid is the only lifeline. But this bond has two unsettling characteristics. 1. Ingrid is only ever seen when Lily is alone. Their conversations happen in empty rooms, deserted hallways, and later, an empty diner. No other patients, no other staff, no witnesses. It's as though Ingrid only exists for Lily. 2. Ingrid knows exactly what to say without ever offering clarity. She listens, reassures, and encourages Lily's fight against Pennywise, but never helps her understand anything new and never gives specific guidance. Her mentorship is vague, soft, and emotional, but not practical. On the surface, this seems comforting, but beneath it lies a disturbing pattern. Pennywise frequently presents illusions tailored to a victim's emotional vulnerabilities, giving them just enough comfort to lead them into deeper despair. In Lily's case, Ingrid is the perfect lure.
I was always Daddy's little girl. What about you?
The Mrs. Kersh parallel, the creepy father connection. One of the biggest clues connecting Ingrid to Mrs. Kersh is the repeated mention of her father. Ingrid brings him up constantly, almost compulsively, and this is not random. In It, Chapter 2, the human identity that Pennywise supposedly once occupied was Robert Bob Gray, a name Mrs. Kersh uses when talking to Beverly. She describes her father as Bob Gray, the exact same name associated with Pennywise's earliest human form. Meanwhile, Pennywise has already tormented Lily by impersonating her dead father. The creature is using her grief as a weapon. Ingrid's obsession with her own father becomes suspicious in this context, especially when that father figure, like the Mrs. Kersh version, seems half-remembered, half-mythical, and oddly disconnected from reality. If Ingrid is Pennywise in disguise, the constant talk of father is a cruel emotional mirroring. And if Ingrid is the precursor to Mrs. Kersh, this is the first sign of the persona starting to form.
Girl, you'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's just...
Ingrid's presence highlights Lily's catch. 22. Lily's story is one of the most tragic in Welcome to Derry. After witnessing unspeakable horror, she's punished for trying to speak the truth. Every adult in her life sends her right back to the asylum the moment she mentions Pennywise. The more she tries to resist the creature, the more isolated she becomes. In this devastating loop, Ingrid becomes her only constant, a single figure who listens without judgment. But this is exactly why Ingrid's authenticity becomes questionable. If Ingrid were a real orderly, staff would see her talking to Lily. Other patients would notice her. She would have documented duties. Someone would acknowledge her presence. Yet, no one does. This leaves two possibilities. Possibility 1, Ingrid is an imaginary friend. This seems plausible, but the show intentionally discredits the idea that Lily is delusional. Possibility 2, Ingrid is Pennywise. This is far more consistent with the show's themes and with the creature's history of manipulation. And if Pennywise is now capable of maintaining a human disguise for hours, or even days, this signals a terrifying evolution in its powers. The possession theory, how Pennywise could be using Ingrid's body. The key difference between ordinary Pennywise illusions and figures like Mrs. Kersh is longevity. Illusions are temporary. Persona-based disguises last much longer. In both the miniseries and films, Mrs. Kersh seems like a real woman with a real home and real belongings, until she isn't. This suggests one of two grim possibilities. Pennywise creates a long-term facade with a full physical environment. Pennywise possesses an actual person and uses their body as a vessel.
With their own eyes.
Why Ingrid would be the perfect target for Pennywise. Pennywise carefully chooses the masks it wears. Ingrid checks several boxes. She's kind-hearted, making the twist more tragic. She's perfectly placed within Lily's trauma cycle. She can be isolated in a way other staff members cannot. She represents the false safety Pennywise loves to weaponize. By posing as Ingrid, Pennywise gains total access to Lily's mind. It becomes the sole adult she can trust. This lays the groundwork for manipulation far more devastating than jump scares or monstrous transformations. If Ingrid eventually becomes Mrs. Kersh, it implies that Pennywise has used this persona for decades, refining it, aging it, and deploying it against the losers club in it. Chapter 2. The horror behind this idea is enormous. Every time Pennywise uses a long-term disguise, it grows more skilled at being human. Why the Ingrid Kersh theory fits perfectly into Welcome to Derry's structure. Welcome to Derry is designed not simply to repeat the scares from the films, but to expand the mythology and explain unanswered questions. Mrs. Kersh has always been one of the franchise's biggest mysteries. Was she real? Was she an illusion? Why did she act human for so long? How did Pennywise craft that persona? By introducing Ingrid, the show now has a narrative path to answer these questions. Ingrid is unsettlingly, kind emotionally aware, perfectly tailored to Lily's trauma, always isolated, always gently nudging Lily toward fear. She is exactly the sort of deception Pennywise would refine over decades. If Ingrid is indeed the seed of Mrs. Kersh, Welcome to Derry isn't just expanding the mythos, it's deepening the emotional horror at the heart of Pennywise's methods. Mrs. Kersh becomes more than a frightening old woman. She becomes the culmination of years of psychological grooming and persona building. The chilling implication, Pennywise is getting stronger. The biggest revelation embedded in this theory is that Pennywise may be evolving, not in its physical form, but in its psychological strategy. In the films and novel, its disguises are momentary and dramatic, creatures of instinct, fear, and shock value. But Ingrid shows restraint, longevity, human nuance. This is terrifying for 3 reasons. Pennywise may now sustain human disguises for long periods without glitching. IT may be capable of living among humans unnoticed. IT may be learning emotional manipulation at a level far more advanced than before. If Ingrid is Mrs. Kersh, this indicates that Pennywise has been mastering this persona for decades, sharpening it, polishing it, preparing it for future victims.
That with good friends at your side, anything's possible. It sounds like
Conclusion. Ingrid's sweetness may be welcome to Derry's darkest lie. Welcome to Derry episode 4, carefully crafted a tender connection between Lily and Ingrid, but this may be the biggest misdirection of the season. Ingrid's isolation, her fixation on her father, her perfect timing, and her exclusive presence in Lily's darkest moments all point toward a chilling truth. If true, this redefines the entire franchise's understanding of Pennywise's disguises and strengthens Welcome to Derry's connection to it. Chapter 2 in a subtle, horrifying way. The kind orderly who seems like Lily's only friend may, in the end, be one more mask worn by the monster beneath Derry's streets, one that will continue to terrorize victims for generations.
now that you mention it, I do remember some kids going missing in the 30s. Quite a few, actually.